Alrighty. Okay, so I told you of the things in the cell, there are three most important things, right? There's the nucleus of the cell with everything inside of it, the water of the cell, cytoplasm, and then the cell's membrane. Those are what we sort of focus on when we talk about radiation exposure. We're going to focus a lot on the nucleus and what happens inside of it. But before that, unless it's just me. Yeah. I couldn't tell if it was just me having too much coffee. I think it's actually just warm. Okay, good. So, all right, inside of your cells, in the nucleus of a cell, which is typically kept in the center of the cell, is your DNA. Okay, your DNA is not just laying about, in any random order. Your DNA is packaged into these things called chromosomes. Somatic cells, the cells of your body, have 23 pairs of chromosomes, whereas genetic cells have 23 chromosomes, okay? Half of that number. So every, at least humans, right? We have to have these 23 pairs of chromosomes in our somatic cells, and what's interesting is it's copied every time your cells reproduce. So one cell turns, two cells became one cell with parent sex cells, but that one cell becomes two becomes four becomes eight becomes 16, right? You get the idea, right? That it multiplies, and every time there's a reproduction of a cell, every time a cell reproduces itself, it has to copy every single piece of this information with extreme fidelity, right? It has to make sure the information copied is accurate. Okay. Otherwise, the organism dies, right? The nucleus, the DNA in the nucleus gets copied, but it gets copied because every time a cell gets made, it needs to access that nuclear information to build things. And if the information is wrong, it's going to build the wrong things, and the cell's going to die. Okay. So in order for the organism to live, it has to rely on accurate copying of the genetic code. But interestingly, for organisms to evolve over long periods of time, for natural selection to work, there has to be some error in this copying process. So for the individual organism, this is really interesting actually, for the organism to survive, the information has to be copied accurately. But for evolution to happen, the information has to be copied accurately most of the time and incorrectly part of the time. Okay? And the nature tries all of these random mutations and picks from the best ones, given the environment the organism's in, and that's how things evolve. But for the individual organism, it hopes that everything's copied accurately, right? So the organism can survive long enough to at least reproduce, right? Okay. Anyways, 23 pairs of chromosomes. 2 of them determine the sexual characteristics of the offspring. We think of those as the XX or XY chromosomes in males or females. Females are males in the way that I just said it. And then 44 autosomes. These are the chromosomes that deal with determining the traits of the organism. And yeah, all the information, I get a lot of mileage out of this idea. All the information necessary for the entire organism to develop is contained in the DNA of every single cell of your body, right? There is no master area in your body where all the information's kept. It's in every one of your cells, okay? This is why, crime scene investigators can find a little piece of your DNA somewhere, right? And then tell that it was you that done it, right? Because if you leave anything behind, right, it's got your DNA in it. Okay. This is how the people in Jurassic Park made dinosaurs, right? They found some mosquito encased in amber, right? And they pulled the blood of some dinosaur out of the mosquito. Yeah. Now it's impossible for DNA to be preserved for that long, but it's a good story, right? Okay, good. So, and then this is our picture. We get to see a picture of all of all those chromosomes, but that's less important. What is important here is the rough shape of a chromosome, right? You see they're basically 2 little sausages that connect, okay? They connect in the middle. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to zoom in on these chromosomes, and we're going to look at what they're built of, okay? I think some people have trouble that we hear about chromosomes and we hear about DNA, and I think some people forget that they're the same thing, okay? The chromosomes are the DNA, Okay, it's just the DNA packaged up. So let's go ahead and walk this through. We'll get to the level, we'll get back to chromosomes in a minute. Now we're going to start at the base level, okay? So DNA, standing for deoxyribonucleic acid, okay? If you see RNA, that's just ribonucleic acid. The difference is that DNA is double-stranded, where RNA is single-stranded. The strands that I'm referring to run vertically on the screen here and twist around, and they are connected to what we would call rungs. Okay, so often we refer to the vertical part of the DNA in this case as rails, and the horizontal part of the DNA as a rung. Double ladder or double helix twisted ladder structure. The twisting allows us to pack lots of information into a small space. The rails of the ladder, which carry no information, are just there to hold the rungs together. The rails are made of sugar phosphate. And the rungs, which do carry the genetic code, the rungs are the information. The rungs are made of nitrogenous base molecules. So they're molecules built on nitrogen, where the rails are molecules built on sugar and phosphorus.
The rails are the outside strip.
Exactly. Yeah, on the screen there, what's running up and down. Yeah. Okay. Okay, the next thing is the rungs of the ladder. Think about, and when you think about this, think about all of the complexity that's in the world around you for all the living things you've ever seen, right? They all carry DNA, and it's all built on the same four. I mean, just look in the room, right? All the different people in the room, right? All of our DNA, which is all very different, is all built out of the same four molecules. No matter how complex a protein is, its instruction to build it comes from combinations of these same four molecules, and there's only four, right? Thymine, adenine, guanine, and cytosine. TAGC. Okay? If you take, what happened? Why did it kick me out? Oh, my computer spazzed out. Hang on.